The Ukrainian Armed Forces operation in Russia's Kursk region has been going on for 5 months. Ukraine is still holding its ground, although a huge Russian troop deployment has helped Moscow recapture about 40% of the territory it initially captured, the Washington Post reports. It is noted that the intensity of the attacks in the Kursk region signals Putin's growing desperation to remove this trump card from the table as soon as possible amid growing pressure over possible negotiations to end the war before the inauguration of US President-elect Donald Trump. According to Ukrainian military officials, Russia has sent 60,000 troops to the region and is attacking Ukrainian positions with all the means at its disposal. The Russians often travel on motorcycles, carts, bicycles and on foot to limit their losses on roads controlled by Ukrainian firepower. In addition, waves of North Korean troops have appeared on the battlefield in the Kursk region in recent days, advancing in large numbers, making them easy targets. In August, Putin played down Ukraine's brazen incursion as a futile sideshow to the main fighting in eastern Ukraine. But nearly 5 months later, as the fighting intensifies, the battle for this corner of western Russia has proven that Ukraine's cross-border incursion was a turning point in the war, even if the final outcome remains unclear, WP writes. The commander of the 82nd Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Dmitry Voloshin, admitted that at first he was skeptical about the Kursk operation as a whole, but since then the importance of this battle has become indisputable. Supporters of the operation believe that the attack was the only option for Ukraine. Although Russia still targets the Sumy region, it is also using its weapons at home for the first time, damaging its own cities and infrastructure, not just Ukraine. The article emphasizes. It is noted that the operation forced Russia to resume the exchange of Azov prisoners, as well as to withdraw tens of thousands of soldiers from the front line in Ukraine. This is a story of principle for Putin, first of all. He sent here ready and best brigades. These are trained, self-confident types. We are fighting the elite. We have withdrawn them from other regions, said the commander of the 225th Assault Battalion of Ukraine, Captain Oleg Shirayev. We are not going anywhere. The newspaper added that Ukraine has more reasons than ever to stand its ground in Russia. If they retreat, officials say, 60,000 Russian troops will follow them into Ukraine. Let us recall that, as the Times wrote, Russia is throwing hundreds of North Korean soldiers into a meat grinder in the Kursk region. Describing one of the most massive attacks, 35-year-old Special Forces officer Vitaly said that the Koreans appeared to have a simple order to attack or die. Seeing such a large group moving together was like a dream for our mortar and machine gunners. I don't know if they all died, but let's just say the attack was stopped pretty quickly. The 14th Regiment of Unmanned Systems of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, known as Tahi Madya, has begun using fiber optic FPV drones on the battlefield. The unit commander Robert Brovdy, under the call sign Madya, published footage of the UAV's combat work on his Telegram channel. The fiber optic drone was developed by the engineering service Tahi Madya. It has already been tested on the battlefield. It was successfully able to destroy an enemy tank that was firing at the Ukrainian Armed Forces position. There is a lot of talk about plans to use fiber optics on FPV drones. Like the occupiers are increasing their use and the Ukrainian Armed Forces are only testing them. Not all. We are using them, said Madya. He named 2 main advantages of drones of this type. The first is the transmission of video without loss of quality. The second is invulnerability to enemy electronic warfare systems. A regular drone doesn't have a chance. The electronic warfare is working, the commander noted. He specified that the development was transferred to the highest military leadership, which launched the process of industrial production of the new UAV. Earlier, media reported that the Ukrainian Armed Forces spoke about the advantages of the new fiber optic drone. Kiev has completed the testing phase of a new fiber optic drone from the Black Widow Web 10 project. The press service of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported this. The new type of drone can fly up to 5 kilometers and carry ammunition weighing up to 2 kilograms. It will not be just one drone, but a whole line that has already received NATO codes. The main innovation of the drone is overcoming enemy electronic warfare systems. Moreover, the new drone is on fiber optics, which will make it possible to use the same technology on FPV drones in the future. Back in March 2024, the media reported that work on creating fiber optic drones was in full swing in Ukraine. At that time, they were talking about the Banderik Strelka drone, which could stay in the air for about 15 minutes and carry ammunition weighing up to 3 kilograms. Putin's army is actively using fiber optic drones in the Kursk region. Details have emerged of how on the morning of December the 15th, Russia sent hundreds of North Korean soldiers to storm the left flank of the Ukrainian Armed Forces defense in the Kursk region. The North Koreans were dropped into no man's land on a clear December morning, with neither the cover of darkness nor, apparently, the concern of their generals. Dressed in green uniforms of the Russian army, the Koreans made no attempt to seek cover and were quickly spotted crossing a snowy field by a Ukrainian drone. The Times writes, as a veteran of the battle for Bakhmut, 35-year-old Special Forces officer Vitaly noted apparently the Koreans had the same simple order: to attack or die, as the Wagner writes. Seeing such a large group moving together was like a dream for our mortar and machine gunners. I don't know if they all died, but let's say the attack was stopped pretty quickly, the fighter noted. According to the Pentagon, hundreds of young Koreans died. Ghastly photos of wax corpses lying in the snow were quickly posted online. One video showed a Russian soldier trying to burn the face of a dead North Korean to hide his ethnicity. The publication said, it is recalled that there are about 11,000 North Korean soldiers in the Kursk region ready to engage in battle. The Ukrainians have nicknamed their new enemies Gooks, a racist nickname used by American troops during the Vietnam War. The term was borrowed from Francis Ford Coppola's 1979 film Apocalypse Now about the monstrous horror of war. The Times added, it is also stated that Putin may receive a maximum of 100,000 troops from the DPRK. However, there is no sign of mobilization of these additional troops, and it will take 3 months to send them to the front lines. According to Lieutenant General Sergei Nayev, the Ukrainian Armed Forces can hold territory in the Kursk region for at least a month and maybe longer, depending on resources. The entry of North Korean troops into combat operations against Ukraine in the Kursk region of Russia was difficult for Pyongyang's forces. However, the DPRK troops were able to adapt, writes Business Insider. Ukrainian forces have dealt devastating blows to North Korean units, according to intelligence and footage obtained by Radio Free Europe / Radio Liberty. Video footage shows groups of soldiers becoming easy targets for Ukrainian drones. North Korean troops are operating in large groups in the open, unaware of the threat from modern technology such as drones, Ukrainian intelligence officials say. This is causing significant casualties. Senior US officials have said the North Korean death toll is in the hundreds. The North Koreans are clearly suffering unnecessary casualties because they were rushed into battle without adequate preparation for the unique threats, said Wallace Gregson, a former Assistant Secretary of Defense for Asia-Pacific Security Affairs.